Autism rates have skyrocketed in the last 20 years, and everyone's asking the same question. Why? Is it vaccines, Tylenol during pregnancy, genetics, stress, or something else entirely? This is one of the most controversial and emotional topics in modern medicine. Parents are scared, social media is filled with theories, and the truth often gets buried under fear and misinformation. Let's be clear, autism is real, and families dealing with it deserve compassion and support. But if we really want to help, we need to cut through the noise and look at the facts. In today's quick dose, I'm breaking it all down. What autism actually is, why the numbers keep climbing, what the research really says about vaccines, Tylenol, genetics, and pregnancy stress, and most importantly, what we know about reducing risk and supporting healthy development. Because fear doesn't help families, facts do. I'm Dr. Nikhil Sharma, and after 14 years in hospitals, I saw it firsthand. Our healthcare system doesn't heal you, it manages you. That's why I started a quick dose with Dr. Nick. Here, we cut through the noise and talk real health, stress, gut health, brain rewiring, the root causes that actually change your life. All right, let's start with the basics. Autism, or autism spectrum disorder, is a neurodevelopmental condition. That simply means it begins early in brain development and influences how a person experiences the world. It shows up in three key areas. One, communication, delayed speech, difficulty with conversation, or differences in how language is used. Two, social interaction, challenges with eye contact, understanding social cues, or building relationships. And three, behavior and sensory processing, repetitive movements, deep focus on certain interests, or sensitivity to sounds, lights, textures, or routines. But remember the word spectrum. Some people with autism are highly verbal, independent, and creative. Others may need lifelong support. Autism is not one single picture, it's many. And here's something important. Autism isn't a disease to cure. It's a neurological difference. But by understanding its causes, we can better support people with autism and possibly reduce some preventable risks. Let me break down what actually is happening in the autistic brain, because this explains why some kids can have incredible talents like perfect memory or music skills, while at the same time struggling with social interaction and communication. Think of the brain like a city. You've got neighborhood streets for local traffic and highways that connect distant neighborhoods together. In many autistic brains, neighborhood streets are super busy, meaning there are a ton of local connections. That's why details, patterns, or specific skills can be so sharp. But the highways that connect the different areas of the brain, like the ones needed for language and social skills, don't always work as smoothly. On top of that, kids with autism don't go through the same kind of pruning process that most kids do. Normally, the brain trims away weaker connections as it develops, so signals flow more clearly. In autism, a fewer of those connections get trimmed, so the brain can feel a little noisy, like there's too much traffic. And then there's balance. The brain runs on two main systems, one that excites and one that calms. In autism, that balance can tilt more towards the excite side, which makes the brain more sensitive to sights, sounds, and details. So put it all together and you get a brain that's amazing at detail, memory, creativity, but sometimes it struggles to pull everything together for bigger picture skills like social conversations or flexible thinking. So it's not about more neurons went to one spot. It's about how the brain wires and balances itself. And that's what creates both the challenges and the superpowers we often see in autism. Here's where it gets alarming. In the 1980s, autism affected about 1 in 2,500 children. But in the early 2000s, it was 1 in 150. Today, according to the CDC, it's 1 in 36 child in the United States. That's a massive increase in just a few decades. So why the rise? Some of it is better awareness and broader definitions. More people are being recognized and diagnosed earlier. But that doesn't explain the entire surge. Something else is happening, and scientists are working hard to figure out what. When it comes to what else might be happening, Let's tackle the big ones. Vaccines. In 1998, a study falsely linked the MMR vaccine to autism. That study has been completely discredited and retracted. Dozens of large-scale studies involving hundreds of thousands of children have shown no link between vaccines and autism, but the fear stuck, and it's still spreading today. Now, let's talk about Tylenol. Some studies have suggested that frequent Tylenol use during pregnancy may increase the risk of autism or ADHD in children. For example, a 2018 study in the American Journal of Epidemiology found a possible association, but correlation does not mean causation. More research is needed before making conclusions. Other factors that are under investigation: environmental toxins like pesticides or air pollution, prenatal exposure to infections, older maternal or paternal age is linked with higher risk. The bottom line: vaccines are not the causes. Tylenol and environmental exposures are areas of ongoing research, but they show no causation and not definitive. Autism has a strong genetic component. Studies show if one identical twin has autism, the other twin has a 90% chance of also being diagnosed. But genes don't tell the whole story. It's about gene-environment interaction. One striking factor is stress during pregnancy. High maternal stress has been linked to changes in the fetal brain development. Studies show that when stress hormones like cortisol are elevated in pregnancy, they can alter the baby's brain wiring. Other risks include poor nutrition, certain infection, gestational diabetes, exposures to toxins like alcohol, drugs, tobacco, or heavy metals. So it's not one single cause, it's a web of genetic predisposition plus environmental triggers. Let's talk about what doesn't cause autism. Bad parenting. Once wrongly blamed is not a cause of autism. Vaccines. No evidence they cause autism. Single foods or diets, not a cause. Autism is not the result of something simple you did or didn't do. It's complex, and no one is to blame. While we can't prevent all cases of autism, research suggests there are ways to reduce the risk. Prenatal care, regular checkups, managing diabetes and hypertension. Nutrition, adequate folic acid, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamin D during pregnancy. Limit your toxins. Avoid smoking, alcohol, and any unnecessary medications. Stress reduction. Practices like meditation, yoga, breath work, or therapy during pregnancy can lower stress hormones. Spacing pregnancies. Some studies suggest that shorter intervals between pregnancies may raise the risk of autism. And one more thing: early intervention. Even though it doesn't prevent autism, identifying it early and starting therapies can make a huge difference. So why is this conversation so important? Because misinformation causes fear. Parents avoid vaccines, pregnant women panic about Tylenol, and the stigma grows. The reality is, autism is rising, but not because of one single factor. It's a mix of genetics, environment, pregnancy health, and early life exposures. And here's the hopeful truth: by supporting maternal health, reducing stress, eating well, reducing toxin exposures, we can make a real impact. So here's the bottom line: autism isn't caused by vaccines. It's not caused by bad parenting. It's a complex mix of genes and environment, and we're still learning every day. What we do know is this: the healthier and more supported a pregnancy is, the better outcomes for both mother and child. This isn't about blame, it's about empowerment. Because the more we understand the real causes of autism, the better we can support families, children, and generations to come. This has been a quick dose with Dr. Nick. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this episode because the truth matters. Until next time, protect your peace, protect your health, and always lead with compassion.